Welcome to another edition of Green is Good. This is the Hollywood edition of Green is Good. And of course, I've got my co-host, Debbie Levin, with me here today. She's the president of the Environmental Media Association. And we've got the beautiful actress and actor next to us, Amy Smart, and her husband, Carter Oosterhouse. Welcome to Green is Good.
Thank you for having us. Good to be here.
Well, I will introduce my special people here. This is like having my children here with me, which is actually, it is having my children here. Amy and I have been family for 15 years. I met Amy literally like seconds after I took over Emma and grabbed her, and she joined the Emma board right away and has been the most amazing environmentalist and honestly just a role model for the entertainment industry ever since. Just an advocate and an activist and just one of the most incredible voices for the environmental community. Carter I knew before Amy knew Carter, and maybe had a little something to do with this amazing thing.
Take as much credit as you want.
I will take all the credit. But Carter Oosterhouse, who you know is the greenest, you are like people's hottest guy ever.
Sexiest man alive.
Yes, sexiest man alive.
That was a slow year, for men in the entertainment world.
But you actually are people's sexiest man alive in our family.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I'll take that.
And,
Josh will be happy with that.
I know, that's true. My other two sons will not be happy about that. But no, seriously, but you are an incredible voice for the environment yourself. And we met before you met Amy. You walked into my office.
I walked into your office because I wanted to be a part of what you guys were doing, because it is truly amazing what Emma does, on a regular daily basis. I think the power of Emma is so huge. And I just said, I want to be a part of that. I want to get there. I want to do what these guys are doing in and around Hollywood, which is essentially, getting out to the masses, which is a great thing.
And Carter, just very, very briefly, obviously does all of his television appearances and has television shows and is a producer. You founded an organization, Carter's Kids, who does, you build playgrounds all over the country, which is amazing. I want to talk about your amazing winery that is sustainable and incredible, and I haven't gone there yet, but it's just open a couple of months, and it's in Michigan. But why don't you ask a couple of questions, because I kind of know everything.
We just had Ed on earlier today, and we were saying, Ed's been doing this for 45 years, right. And him and Rachel are, truly the standard bearers of the environmental activist movement in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. But you're the new generation in terms of power couples, power green couples. How does that look and feel to you now? And in terms of getting the mantle and moving with it, where are we in terms of water scarcity and in terms of climate change and messaging to make the world a better place from a Hollywood perspective?
That's a huge question. Where to start? First of all, it's really hard to follow in Ed's footsteps because he's incredible and he really walks his talk in the sense of, he bikes around LA, which is amazing, which is also quite the challenge.
And dangerous.
Yeah. And not the safest.
Right.
But he can do it and he can do it. I just think from our perspective, I just think it's important to stay relevant on what issues are the most pressing at the moment. Yeah. When we talk about lifestyle, there's so many different little things you can do to green your lifestyle, make it more sustainable the way you live. And then when certain issues come up and become stronger, like fracking, like, GMOs, banning the plastic bags. There's so many parts to the equation of how we can keep making our lifestyle more in harmony with the planet.
Yeah. And I think another thing is that, just to talk about what Amy, in particular, what the impact that Amy has made is that when we were talking about trying to message and reach the current generation, I think it was 7 years ago, we were trying to figure out how to speak more to the younger Hollywood, and we came up with a program for Emma together, and this was something that came out of Amy's passion, and we came up with the Emma Young Hollywood Board and to bring in more of the young talent, and we created a program called the Emma School Garden Program, where we plant gardens in lower income schools, and we give every school their own celebrity mentor, and that came from.
Well, I met Amy when I just joined Emma on your corporate board. That was 10 years ago, and Amy's been there 15 years, which is amazing because
she's 3.
She's 25 and been there 15 years. I mean, how do you recruit her when she's 10 years old? I mean, it's like amazing. Yeah. But I mean, like,
I wore her on like one of those baby things.
Talk a little bit about that. That's a 15-year journey that you've done with Debbie at Emma.
Yeah.
You've brought on that board. That young Hollywood board has grown tremendously. Talk a little bit about growing it, and how's that been, and how's it look today compared to when you both started it?
Well, it's definitely grown, and it's so awesome to see. I think a lot of people in the entertainment industry, when they start to become successful, they start to feel this responsibility of giving back and doing something that matters, because it's so wonderful having entertainment, but it's also, we also live in the real world where we all have to live somewhat harmoniously, and we all live on one planet and we can't live anywhere else. So, these young celebrities want to feel like they have purpose, and they have something intelligent to say, and something to root for, and something to be passionate about. And so it's nice to have to gather this entertainment group that a lot of them naturally feel inclined to want to do something environmental, and some have become parents, and they realize, oh my gosh, this planet needs to survive for my kids to grow healthy on this planet. So,
Amy, how does it work for you and Carter? Do you have to pick up the phone and call some young up-and-coming stars and say, hey, you're going to be joining us? Or are they calling you saying, hey, I saw what you did. How do I do what you're doing? How does that work on the outbound versus the inbound?
I haven't really cold called
celebrities. Oh, okay.
But it just seems every time we have this award show, I feel like we have this new influx of celebrities that are naturally interested in the environment, in greening, their set, or in finding new ways of helping out. That's because our voice is so public, that it has that much more, it magnifies that much greater to a larger audience. So to have a real message behind it matters. And a lot of people want that, and a lot of people in the industry want to have purpose, is my feeling about it.
And it's very authentic.
It is very authentic too, and also with the younger generation there's so many issues out there today, right? Yeah. And the younger generation has more of a conscious awareness of that there are these issues. Where you put somebody like an Ed Begley Jr., who's he's a little bit of an oddity, because you don't see, in a good way, but you don't see people that are in his age bracket that are doing what he's doing, where now it's more traditional to see the younger generation of having all this awareness of all these, then through social media and being able to get online and seeing all these little bits of info of how they can change and what they can do. So it now is maybe a little bit easier to grab people's attention and say, hey, will you help out with this? So with Emma, that's sort of the beauty, because you're able to amplify it through so many voices.
Beyond Emma, though, talk a little bit about your brilliant and amazing, Carter's Kids. Explain how the genesis of coming up with that concept and why you do that.
Okay, so what we do with Carter's Kids, we build one playground a month all across the U.S.
That's amazing.
And it's really cool. We started in 2007, and as a builder, I just wanted to give back and work with kids, and I thought maybe playgrounds would be the easiest thing, purely to curb childhood obesity. That was the original idea,
right?
And to work with kids too, and it was fairly simple and not too super complex. So what we do is we build a playground in a random city. So in a couple of weeks, we're headed to Washington, D.C. We're building one there. A couple of weeks after that, we head to Chicago. We're building one there. And so what we do is we go in 2 days, 2.5. We build a playground, and we're done, and we're out. And that playground lasts for 20 years. Millions of kids, at least thousands, go through that playground, over the years and over the time. But what we're seeing is not only the individual children we're having the effect on those kids, but also the community development. The community development, because now it's sort of say, say we live over on 6th Street and you guys live over on 8th Street. We've never met, but our kids gravitate towards this playground. Now we meet, and now we say, hey, Debbie, nice to meet you. I live over here. Maybe we should talk about that fence over on 8th Street or something like that. So you realize that the communal aspect of this epicenter of a playground, it just works on so many levels, and it's great. And it's again, not super expensive and lasts for 25 years.
So that's something for the kids.
Yeah.
That's something for the community.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about something for the adults. Bonobo
Winery. The winery.
Winery and sustainability. And how did you come up with that?
Yeah.
And how is sustainability going to play a major role with what the wines you're creating?
And why'd you name it that?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll let Amy tell us. So you can start out with the name.
Okay. Well, you named it.
Yeah.
Well, you came up with the name. But it's a primate.
Say it the correct way.
Bonobo.
Okay, yeah, because John didn't say it.
Yeah.
He butchered the name, so I wanted to get it out there right.
You want to call it a monkey? Hello. But it's really not a monkey. It's a primate. And so they're an endangered species in the Congo, and they're a highly evolved creature where they anytime there's like anything territorial with them and they want to kill each other, they have sex instead. They're very...
What better name for a...
This is like a Dr. Ruth episode.
Your face was hilarious.
Oh.
They're very sexual creatures that they really solve their problems with love and not war.
Right. Well, they're the closest to human beings, right? Yeah. So they are the closest.
Except that part.
The closest in makeup and body makeup. And so the cool thing about them is that and their DNA makeup. So the cool thing about them is that they don't fight. They don't fight for their territorial issues. They literally, it's like the make love not war slogan, and this is what they preach. They don't go attack each other, and they live harmoniously, which is pretty amazing. So I thought, okay, nobody really knows what bonobo is.
Are.
So let's call it bonobo because we want people to come together and relax and sort of have that evolve
and have a playful time.
And that you're going to share that story.
Yeah, and share that story, which is great. We love, when people show up at the door, we want people to stay and relax and hang out at the winery.
So when does that launch?
So we my brother and I started this 7 years ago, and we planted 5 years ago. And then we just opened 4 months ago, and so we have a big 6,000 square foot tasting room where we invite people to come in and hang out. We have Mario Vitale, who does all of the food in the tasting room.
No way.
Yeah, so it's a pretty exciting.
And where's it located?
It's in Traverse City, Michigan, which is one of the fastest growing wine regions in the country right now.
Oddly enough.
Who
would think?
Yeah. And so
we're in California. We're talking about a winery in Traverse City, Michigan. That's amazing.
With of course climate change and the things that are changing. The temperature. Obviously, we know that we're getting a little bit warmer. So in the northern states, we have a little bit of a warmer climate up there to do this with. And
so you're already producing wine.
Oh yeah.
So shameless plug. How do our listeners buy your wine?
Go to bonobowinery.com. They can go online and call us up. Whatever, call me. I deal with stuff every single day of shipping.
He's got it
out
in the trunk.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So please, it's mainly the Chardonnay and the Rieslings that do really, really well. They're award-winningly well. And but then we have Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris, Pinot Noir, and Cab Franc too.
So you're selling B2C online and B2B to restaurants across America?
Not restaurants yet.
Okay.
We're producing about 8,000 cases right now. We hope to get up to 10 once we surpass that. Then we'll start to get the distribution.
In terms of certification and stuff, it's a sustainable winery?
Yeah, sustainable as it can be. Right now we're looking to more of the biodynamic practices.
Can you explain that a touch, what that is?
Yeah, well, I'll let Amy.
I just took I went to this biodynamic conference on vineyards. The whole philosophy behind biodynamics was started by Rudolf Steiner in 1924. Wow. And it's a very holistic, spiritual way of dealing with a farm, dealing with the land. It's pretty much about it's the next step of organic. So it's even deeper and even more connected because you're dealing with the stars. You're dealing with bringing some more livestock on the farm to play a role in raising these plants. You deal with bringing herbs and different preparations back into the soil with the compost. So it creates so much fertility on a farm, and it's so eco, and it really radiates within a 10-mile radius from the farm. The air quality gets better. It brings the predators. It brings all these amazing creatures back into harmony. So I'm really looking forward to bringing these biodynamic practices to our farm and
so that's one step, but obviously the building is it's a large building but we made it in the most eco fashion that we could. As a builder, I think it's extremely important to be conscious. See, builders, designers out there, you have to be conscious, and it really is. Like we used as many non-VOCs that we could use for adhesives, for structure wise, just to make sure that we were as right in our mind when we were building it, and not to sort of escape from that, as well as into, of course, the fields.
Is that becoming a wine country so people can go to that city in Michigan and like go wine tasting?
There's about 40 wineries in the area.
Yeah,
and So who would have known? So there's about 40 wineries up there. It's a big tourist town. I think that we get like probably about 3 million to 3.5 million people annually that run around there. So we get a good range of people that come in and out, which is really fun. I mean, you've been there.
I've been there. They got married there.
Yeah, we got married back at the farm. So yes, so it's
right on this farm is where the winery is, where you got married.
It's close by, not.
But it's close. Okay.
It's close,
Amy wouldn't let me put it right at the
Okay.
Like, come in our backyard.
That's awesome. So what's the next step? Given this, both of you doing so many things. I mean, let's be honest. You're both beautiful. You both have very successful careers. You don't have to be doing this much. You're doing more than your fair share. Yeah. When you guys are alone and you're thinking, hey, we got the winery, we're messaging, and we're doing Emma. What's next for you guys in terms of environment, activism? What's on your mind? Where are you taking this?
Well, I love working on numerous projects, and I have a zillion projects in the air right now. But somebody the other day, who's a professor out of Northwestern, told me, he's an entrepreneur professor, and he said what he teaches his students. It's a really weird thing to say, but it's called conscious capitalism. He said, to make money is not a bad thing. He's like, but to make it in the smart, ideal way, so you're taking care of all of your employees, you're taking care of the land that you're on, the building that you're in, the air quality that you're breathing, your neighbors next door, your community. If you really take that in a stride, and I think that's very important, for people today who are like entrepreneurs, who are going out there and working to really structure what you do on a daily basis. It's okay to want to make money in life, and that's all right as long as you are giving back, taking care of. I think that's a really smart thing. So I think that is something that is important to us in our new various business ventures or whatever.
Right.
I also think, like, honestly, knowing you guys so well, you're so happy, and it fulfills you so much when you are doing what you love to do, which is environmental activism in however that looks. Right. And so this is who you are. This is your life. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just the next steps that happen are what you're compelled to do. I mean, not to answer for you, but I am. And but that is, and I love what you're saying, because I so agree with that. Yeah. Because I think when you do good things happen.
Without a doubt.
And, before we go today, Debbie, when she first came on Green is Good 5 or 6 years ago, she talked about the launching of the organic garden program. Can you share with our listeners and viewers a little bit what you've done with that and how that really works and why that makes such a big impact, similar impact like Carter's Kids does, your organic gardening program?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I think gardens is one of the best gifts you can give a child, because first of all, it's what nourishes us. Yeah. And so a lot of kids, especially if you grow up in inner cities and you're not introduced to nature, think food just comes from the market. They don't realize it's from the ground, that it's been nurtured and planted, and the sun plays a role in the nutrients in the soil. And so when kids can get back in the dirt, or you can call it earthing, I don't know if you heard that, and you just put your feet on the ground, in the soil, on grass, whatever, for like a half hour a day, and it brings your electromagnetic field back into alignment. But so you get kids in the garden, and they can, from the beginning, you're laughing, you're like, I know how earthly it is.
The monkeys, the earthly, you got it all today here.
But it gets kids back to the basics of what matters. And then they can actually grow something from the ground and eat it and enjoy it and maybe take it to a farmer's market.
When you're going and doing this, do they know you're Amy Smart, or you're just Amy with Emma, with Debbie showing up and doing
It
a garden?
depends.
Both.
It depends how old the kids are.
Because we have schools. It's from K all the way to 12th grade. We love the fact that we've got high schools too, because so many of these programs ignore the high schools, and they think, oh, it's so great for the little kids. But how great are our high schools? It's like, oh my God! And then like when you touch these kids, and these are kids that people write off because they think, oh, they're done, and they get so passionate about it, and you have totally changed their life, and they're going out and they're talking. Not only are they talking to their parents, but they're able to go and sell at the farmer's market because they're old enough. Right. And they are completely, they have a new direction. And they're 16 years old. And
a new skill set.
And a new skill set. Right.
That's that for the rest of their lives.
Right.
Grow gardens in their backyard or in a box on their deck.
That's right. And maybe a new career.
Yeah.
I mean, both of you are touching America's youth in just such a special, from the ground up way. I mean, I've never had a show ever in 7 years where people are like both of you. I mean, I gotta just say, both of you are just amazing people. I mean, you don't have to take that kind of time, but you do, and it's just changing the world and making the world a better place, and both of you are doing it in very unique ways. I want you to share professionally what's going on for both of you, what projects you're working on that's interesting next.
I'm like trying to dive back into the TV world. I did Justified last season, and I've done Shameless, and I really just love these incredible TV.
So you're gonna do TV.
So that's where I'm aiming. That's where I'm aiming right now. Yeah.
I think right now the winery has been taking up a lot of the time in the last year, and then but I still have a production company. We produce a couple shows that I'm not on, and now we're talking about we have 3 new shows right now that we're looking into. So we'll see. Me getting back on the air, of me hosting, yes, and working through. So that's kind of fun too. That's good.
Well, next time you come on, what I'd ask you to do is let's bring some of the wine on.
Definitely,
and
definitely. Yes. I'm sorry I didn't bring any today. I feel so bad.
Sorry. Next time we're gonna bring it. We're gonna do a little tasting.
That would be great.
And a little toasting and
perfect.
And make it really fun.
I love that.
And and again, I just want to say thank you to both of you for all you do to make the world a better place. Thank you, Debbie, for being my co-host today on the Hollywood edition of Green is Good. Yeah. And I just want to tell our viewers out there. This is a very special edition. First time we've ever had a power green couple on together. And I just want to say, Amy and Carter, both, you are truly living proof that green is good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.